Hi, and welcome back to my channel, J.I. Colorist. Thank you for joining me. My name is Jody, and this video is my completed pages for March 2022. I completed 36 pages this month, so I'll try and go through them as quickly as possible. So grab a cup of tea and let's get started. The first page that you see in front of you is actually a print that I purchased from the Canadian artist Crystal Salomon. I purchased the print, and then I copied it onto Strathmore watercolor paper because I wanted to test out my colors before I actually completed the actual print. So I did that, and I used some silver gel pen for some accents, some Spectrum Noir sparkle brush pen, and just some polychromos, and yeah. And then for the background, I used dry brushed on gel crayon. From the same artist, I purchased a coloring sticker so that I could reuse this binder as my coloring binder. And so I used permanent markers, and yeah. They're very durable vinyl stickers. Yeah, so I used just an alcohol marker and completed that. In this binder, I also have two of the bookmarks that I completed. I completed the bookmarks from this one with Thule Art paint pens. So I used the glitter paint pens. They come off with quite a silver shine to them. And I also finished this using some felt pen and some silver marker and just some Brute Verner macaron pencils. They both have a background. Some of the leaked through, the felt leaked through, so I covered it with washi tape. And this one didn't leak through, so I just left it as is. So those are those items. This month I also played around quite a bit with the Bambino clay crayons, and if you're interested in a separate video on how I use them, leave a comment below. So I'll start with my Lulu Mayo books. This is the Million Cute Animals. And I completed the koala page. I used some gel pens and the Brute Verner macaron pastel pencils. The background is done 100% with pan pastels using 4 colors. So I used a background base color, and then I did circles on top using different colors and a stencil. Slip that in there. I haven't disbound this book yet. I'm still deciding. This page is done with the Bambino clay crayons, and very fun to work with. You can sharpen them with a regular pencil sharpener. I used some gel pen, a couple of stickers from my antiquarium sticker book, and I smoothed it out, blended it out a little bit with my Copic Gamsol marker. This page is done with Arteza watercolor brush pens. I haven't really gotten enough use out of those, so I decided to use them in a book that I didn't want any bleed through. I also used polychromos and a little bit of gel pen and gelato dried brush, and some washi tape. And I think that's all in this book. This book is also by Lulu Mayo. It's A Million Sloths, Super Cute Creatures to Color. This was part of my Color Your Hoard. I had not previously colored in this book. I used some Daniel Smith watercolor ground, transparent watercolor ground. I applied it with a foam brush, let it dry for 24 hours, and by adding the watercolor ground, it makes the page able to accept or take watercolor mediums with no bleed through or buckling. So just one thin coat. I didn't do a great job on my brush strokes. You can see a little bit of them because I used, but they were good. I used Inktense gelato, metallic gelato background. I used, sorry about that interruption, my dog was scratching at the door. So I also used some gel pen, Neocolor 2. Basically, I threw a lot of watercolor mediums at this page to see how they worked. This is not Inktense, Graphitint pencils. And yeah, so that worked quite well. Also in this book, this double page spread, I used Macaron pastel pencils, Polychromos pencils, gel pens, some Paul Rubens glitter watercolor paint. It's more of a shine than a true glitter, that paint, but there's also some glitter paint up there. And all pencil, no gelato or no pan pastels in this for background. So just shiny paint and pencils. This page I used Bambino clay crayons for the whole page, and a little bit of gel pen in some of the flower centers, but the whole page was done with the crayon, so turned out quite good, and a little bit of washi tape on the bottom. So that's the Mayo's box. Onto my Joanna Bashford books. This is World of Wonders, and I completed just one page this month. I purchased a couple of months ago, the Sarah Renee color catalog, and so starting to use some of her palettes because I'm kind of running out of ideas for colors. So I used palette 377, and this was done with Polychromos. The headlamp has a little bit of the glossy accents. I used gelato and a stencil on the rest of the background, and there's actually a separate video on how I did this background if you're interested. Another Joanna Bashford book. I've had this book for years, The Lost Ocean, but I had never actually ever colored in it, and so this was part of the hashtag Color Your Hoard for March 2022. I did this page. I used Inktense on the blue areas, and I used the Inktense on a palette, picked it up with a makeup sponge and sponged it on. I used gelato for the rest of the background, dry brushed. There's silver gel pen and Polychromos pencil on the actual starfish. And I used a limited color palette. And I think it turned out okay. Another page completed in this book, is the whale page. I used gelato background with the stencil to make it look like waves. I used black ink for the whale, covered in indigo blue Polychromos. I used gel pen for the little fishies, and just Polychromos pencils, and glossy accent for this little eyeball. And I drew on the water spouts, or the water droplets coming out of his spout. This book is my only Rita Berman book, and I completed the front cover page, and I used Polychromos, and then I used the glossy accent to make it look like the magnifying glass, and just some silver gel pen. This double page spread, I used Polychromos pencils, gel pens, Paul Rubens glitter paint. There's the glitter paint here and here. I use glossy accents on a lot of the eyes. And yeah, I also use for this, all this green is the Spectrum Noir Sparkle pen, and it has a brush tip. So yeah, so there's a slight shine. It's hard to see. You can see it in person a little bit, but yeah, I thought he was awfully cute. Very cute pictures in this book. Okay. Okay, this page, really like how he turned out this cute little mouse. I use Polychromos pencils, gelato background, dry brushed on, and a little bit of silver gel pen, and some Paul Rubens on the bubbles here. So, but yeah, sweet little mouse. Okay, this page, I again used the Daniel Smith transparent watercolor ground. I sponged it on, left it for 24 hours, and then I came back and I used Neocolor 2 Alberta watercolor pencils, Arteza watercolor brush pens, and some gel pen. So basically I just wanted to see how much I could do on the page, testing out some of my mediums that I don't get to use often in books. And I want to see how the paper would hold up. It held up great. There's no bleed through, really no buckling at all. I could come back today with water on a brush and I could reactivate this. So yeah, it turned out okay. Cute little one. And that's it for that book. Okay, this is a Nice Little Town number 5. I've had this book forever. I get very discouraged that the pictures are so cute, but the paper in these books just are not the best. So I did this page, but I actually sprayed it first with the workable fixative, and then the pencils actually took a lot better. Then the background is just a light gelato brush on. So I may have a good hack fix for this paper now. So hopefully I can get more use. And then there's one other page I didn't have, this one. Okay, this page I did with Bambino crayons. Since I was having such a hard time with pencils in this book, I thought, well, let's just throw some crayon at it. And so I used Bambino crayons, and down here I didn't blend the crayons. Up here I did blend them out with Gamsol, so there is quite a difference. And I used a little bit of gel pen as well. So yeah, so I think I will be able to color more in this book with the 2 different mediums. If you watched my disc binding book, you'll recognize this book. This is Mouse Guard by David Peterson. I actually swapped out in the disc binding book. It had large silver rings. I actually got some new rings in, so I replaced it with some red rings and matched the red. So this is part of Color My Hoard. It's a book I had never previously colored in. This page I did. This is the character named Saxon. So his colors are red and orange. So I used Inktense. I used some gel pen. I used metallic polychromos silver on there, and some Graphitint and Alberta watercolor pencils with a little bit of Macron and polychromos on top. So as long as you're not using a lot of water, the paper in here is excellent. So, and this was actually my first page that I did in this book, and I'm really quite pleased with how it turned out. I used Inktense, Graphitint pencils, polychromos, Macron pencils, gelato for a background with a stencil, and then a silver gel pen to outline the marks on the stencil. So it looked kind of like stained glass on top of stained glass or underneath. And yeah, I think quite happy with that. And again, no bleed through, even though I used quite a bit of watercolor medium. The last page in this book that I did so far was Sadie. And so Sadie is riding on a leaf in some water. So I used ink tints and some polychromos on top, a little bit of silver gel pen, and yeah. So now that I've started in this book and kind of got my confidence up a little bit, I will be doing more pages. When I feel like just doing some different non-pencil work, I'll go and grab my Volume 3 Mandala Bliss by Coloring Bliss. This is a watercolor paper mandala. It's just large mandalas, so not a lot of intricacy, but just some fun to use my watercolor mediums. So I used Paul Rubens metallic watercolor paint on there. The rest is done with Neocolor 2 and then a silver gel pen. So just some fun. And then I splattered paint around the outside. And one more. So I have 2 pages left in this book. If you think I should do a completed book flip through, leave that comment below when it's done. But this I used, I broke these out this month. I've had them forever, but I used the Spectrum Noir Sparkle Pop. So I've used them a few times this month. And also I used Gelato for the circled backgrounds and some gold Fine Tech paint. So reflective, that Fine Tech paint. And Neocolor 2. So 2 more pages left in this book. And I started this book in June of 2019, so I'll be finishing hopefully in April 2022. And the last book that I colored in, the best for the last, I am focusing on Romantic Country Second Tale. I would like to get it finished in the year 2022, so I have been working down. I started a countdown page, and I give credit to Amanda's Joy of Coloring. I saw her do this on her page, and so now that I know I had like 50 pages left, I can start crossing them off. So I thought that was a little fun incentive thing. This page here is the first map, and it's actually the same map that is in the Romantic Country 1. So I actually used all the same colors that I used in the first book, again on this. And so it's polychromos pencils with the background, or the sea area is done in 3 colors of pan pastels. This is another map, so there's two separate maps, and as you may know, the maps have pictures of the things that are in the book. So as I do the page in the book, I come back to the map and I complete it so I have the same colors that I did in the book, and just for some continuity. So this is a whip that keeps changing every month. Okay. This book here, or sorry, this page, is done with Faber-Castell Polychromos gel, some Wink Estella on the wings, some gel pen, some stickles, gel pen, and Gelato background. This page here is got Wink Estella on the big moon. It's got black pencil on the background, then black ink on top, and then on top of that, black coarse pan pastel with glitter, polychromos pencils, and some silver gel pen. So the moon does sparkle in the right light, but okay. This page here, just wanted to quickly show you. It was a page that I actually finished in February, and I missed showing it to you. And I just wanted to show it to you because I used something different. I used the Graphitint pencils, water-soluble graphite pencils on the roof, and some bronze paint. So I just, I really like the Graphitint pencils, and I'm going to be using them more often. Okay. So this page, double page spread, chapter 2, I used gelato for the sky, pan pastel, and gelato also for the sunrise. Some gelato underneath or on top of pencil here, pan pastels for the rest of the sky, a little sticker from the Antiquarium sticker book, and just Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils. So okay, this guy here, the Field of Flowers, is just pan pastel for the sky, and some gel pen and polychromos for the rest. Okay. Again, this one, pan pastel for the sky and the water, and polychromos for the rest. And yeah. Okay. For this guy here, this page, the fawns, I actually used the gelato for most of the page. So the green trees, the grass, the water, all with, and then some pastel for the background. A little bit of the glitter paint pen for the marks in the water, and then the just polychromos for the trees and the fawn. Okay. Getting close to the end. Okay. This guy, whoops, sorry about that. This is Spectrum Noir Sparkle Pen for the all the leaves, the vines, and the little guy's coat. And then I used gelato for the background with some gel pen for the stars. I used a micron pen to outline the gate, the wrought iron gate there, and polychromos for the rest. Yeah, and I think this may be the last page. This was done with Spectrum Noir Sparkle in the purple this time, and then I outlined it. It ended up being really dark. You couldn't tell that they were hanging flowers or whatever those items are. So then I outlined it with a Signal silver pen, polychromos for the rest, the green sparkle pop for the hanging vines, and then the background in purple is actually a mixture of two colors using pan pastels. So I didn't have a purple, so I used a blue and magenta, mixed them together to get this beautiful purple shade. And yeah, that I think is it for this month. So 2 questions for you. 1, comment below what your favorite picture was, and 2, if you think I should break the video down into part 1 and 2 when I have completed so many pages in 1 month. So I hope you have a great week. Thank you for joining me, and until next month, happy coloring.